So thankful to spend a few moments with you here on this Tuesday. Today, I'd like to think about the reality of what's coming in the future. I have been noticing that there are many podcasts dealing with prophecy now, and rightly so. It's very understandable. We are seeing how the book of Revelation and other prophecies can come to fruition from what we can even see. Now, we know that the coming of Christ is imminent. The rapture could happen at any time, and there are no signs ahead of time that have to take place. Paul thought Jesus was coming then, and it's certainly very true that we think he's coming now. But we do see the groundwork being laid. These are not signs, but just things that we can observe that do prepare for the events that we're seeing in the book of Revelation. But we need to make sure that as we see that, we are not allowing ourselves just to think, well, Christ is coming and it's going to be soon. And it's just almost like we despair of what's going on around us and we sort of hold on. In verse 11, speaking of what's going to happen when the earth passes away and Christ is going to come as a thief in the night, we read in verse 11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? Here in 2 Peter 3, we have this great admonition that knowing that God's going to judge this world and knowing that prophecy will be fulfilled, we should instead live with a lifestyle that is set apart to him with godliness. That word conversation means lifestyle, how we live out what's really in us. And we need to be looking and hasting unto the coming of the Lord. And as a result, in verse 14, wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. If ever there was a day that Christians need to be living godly lives and serving the Lord to get the gospel out, it's today, because we can see that things are happening just like God said they would happen. And as the population nears 8 billion people, my friends, our burden ought to be to fulfill the cause of Christ, not worried about what's happening to us now or just only thinking about the future. God wants us now to be transformed people. And so I want to encourage you with that today. That's right from the scriptures. 2 Peter, near the end of his life, he's admonishing folks during the awful trials of Nero. Don't give up. Christ is coming. There's going to be a new heavens and a new earth, but that ought to make you live for him now. And would that same kind of heart be in all of us? To be all that God wants us to be. If there's ever a day we ought to have a shining testimony for the Lord, it's today in the midst of all these things. And would we revel in the future, but live now for the glory of God?